world for being a country that works hard to provide inclusiveness, equality, and fairness for all who live here. It is seen as a place where people strive for a life free from discrimination and the harassment that can accompany it through individual actions and government policies. Even though many see Canada as a multicultural haven, it is not perfect, and we must continue to improve and grow. We need to educate everyone so that they understand their role in eliminating discrimination and harassment in order to achieve this. The following module aims to help you as the driver provide safe transportation to all riders free from discrimination and harassment. Act in a way that is fair, equal, and inclusive to all passengers and other road users. Manage customer expectations even if you believe they are unreasonable. Manage conflicts that may occur when transporting passengers. Great job! These are the correct answers. Great job! That is the correct answer. Great job! That is the correct answer. We all want to be treated fairly, equally, and accepted for who we are. We don't want people to assume who we are or what we can or cannot do based on reasons such as nationality, color, religion, or physical ability. Following are reasons or grounds for discrimination: race, national or ethnic origin, color, religion, age, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity or expression, marital status, family status, disability, genetic characteristics, conviction pardoned. When considering the vehicle for hire industry, what actions or practices would be considered discriminatory? There are discriminatory actions that are against the law, including denying someone employment, residential accommodation, or goods and services. We will focus on the denial of goods and services in this section. That is correct. It is discrimination because the law states that you cannot deny anyone access to your service because of disability. That is correct. Discrimination is based on our actions, not the individual's awareness of our actions. Correct. Jamal discriminated against Lucy based on her disability. Throughout our lives, we form attitudes, stereotypes, and biases. As we receive information through our experiences, education, and culture, our brains take in this information, and without us knowing it, we develop emotions, ideas, beliefs, and behaviors. In order to understand this further, let's define what attitudes, stereotypes, and biases are. Attitudes are a set of emotions, beliefs, and behaviors toward a particular object, person, thing, or event. Stereotypes are a set of ideas a person has, that are often wrong, about someone or something else. Biases happen when an individual is for or against a person, group of people, or thing compared with another. Example scenario of Jamal and Lucy. Jamal has a bias against individuals with disabilities. Jamal doesn't want to pick up Lucy because it may be more time consuming than a customer without a disability. Please consider the fact that a bias can be conscious, which happens when we are aware of our biases toward a person or group. In our example, Jamal had a conscious bias toward people with disabilities. Unconscious, which happens when people are not aware of the biases they have toward a person or group. Concept of unconscious bias a little further. Jamal believed that Lucy would need more time to lift herself in and out of the car. Why? Was that due to her disability? When asked, Jamal confirms that Lucy's disability was the only reason for his belief. Upon further discussion, Jamal shared that in his experience, older passengers were slower getting in and out of the car, liked to talk during the ride, and didn't tip well. Jamal confirmed that these beliefs also contributed to his decision not to pick up Lucy. This is an unconscious bias. Good try, but that's not quite right. All of these other factors could have contributed to Jamal's discriminatory short of time are the Choose only all that apply. We know about. Tired, he had a long day and wanted to go. Multitasking, stressed, short of time. Our thought processes. Our brains take in information, and our thoughts determine our actions and decisions. There are 4 things our brains do that make it hard for us to recognize our own biases. Our brains naturally make quick decisions. When we make quick decisions, we don't recognize the beliefs and thoughts that affected our decisions. These beliefs and thoughts move so quickly through our brains that we often don't recognize all the steps we took to get to our decision. Our brains work in such a way that we don't like things, people, or values that are different from what we know or believe. We want and like things to be the same. People attach values to things that are different. Values such as good or bad, acceptable or unacceptable are placed on things that are different. People attach values to an individual's or group's character due to our differences. We believe they are either good or bad people due to the differences they have. Lucy were Jamal's mother. He would never let her hire transportation. He was raised to believe that you must respect your mother, and that respect would include taking care of family members' needs, including transportation. He would drive his mother to her appointments. Unconsciously, Jamal has placed a negative value on Lucy and her family for not driving her to where she needs to go. What Jamal doesn't realize is that Lucy's family has been raised to respect their mother by respecting her wishes. Lucy's family wanted to drive Lucy to her appointment, but Lucy refused their offer. Lucy wants to hire a driver. It makes her feel independent and competent. Both families want to show their mothers respect, but they do it differently. Neither is bad or good, just different. Possible to identify and change our unconscious biases, but the good news is we can. Consider the following techniques and tools to help you accomplish this. Self-awareness. You can recognize your biases by paying attention to your thoughts when making a decision and using tests and tools designed to help uncover your personal biases. The implicit association test is just one example. Discussions. It is helpful to have discussions with others who are from a different background or social group. Only when we have insight into another person's point of view can we start to change our beliefs. Sharing your biases can help others open up and share theirs. Facilitated discussions and training sessions. Taking courses that look at identifying biases have been proven to decrease unconscious biases and change conscious biases. Once we find out what some of our biases are, how do we change them? As mentioned previously, biases are formed through thoughts. Our brains quickly make decisions and take action. One of the best ways we can change our biases is to outsmart our brains by doing the following. Think differently. Once you become aware of an unconscious bias, make an effort to think differently by exposing yourself to different experiences and people of different backgrounds. Learn differently. Take the time to work and connect with others who are different from your usual social group, peers, and family. Go outside your comfort zone. Act differently. Look to change your usual actions and prevent biases from impacting your decisions. Well done! You have now completed Module 4 of the Vehicle for Hire training program. You may now... Great job! Great job! Customers... Correct! Yes! Jamal followed the equitable principles of the Toronto rules governing Vehicle for Hire service. Important message. It is an... That is correct. This could be considered harassment. Jamal doesn't mean any... That is correct. Jamal began thinking differently. That is correct. Jamal began thinking differently. Jamal had biases against Lucy's age and all family, that are correct, but he started thinking differently of Lucy as he would his own mother, and he also acted differently. Jamal was able to change his actions through thinking differently. Your biases and working to avoid acting in a discriminatory way sounds like a lot of work. So why should we care? Why bother addressing it? Is it really that bad? Aren't people just being oversensitive? The answer is yes, we should address our biases, and no, people are not being oversensitive. The impact of discrimination reaches much farther than the individual who does not get the service they deserve. It also impacts society and the workplace on a much larger scale. Let's take a look. Discrimination impacts both the individual and society as a whole. When the individuals of a society are impacted, so is the larger society. Individuals are impacted in both a physical and emotional way. These include exclusion or rejection, anxiety, sadness and depression, guilt and emptiness, illnesses, anger, loss of self-worth. Not only individuals are impacted, groups are excluded and lose opportunities or access to things such as services and employment opportunities. Above impact on society, the Human Rights Code prohibits discrimination in 5 parts of society. These are called social areas of discrimination and include employment, housing, services, contracts and membership in trade, vocational and professional associations. For this module and course, we are going to focus on services. What does the law say about discrimination in the service industry? Every person has a right to equal treatment with respect to services, goods, and facilities, without discrimination due to race, ancestry, place of origin, color, ethnic origin, citizenship, creed, sex, sexual orientation, gender identity, gender expression, age, marital status, family status, or disability. How does discrimination impact the workplace? Discrimination can negatively impact every aspect of the workplace. Consider these areas and how they are impacted. Recruitment and hiring practices. People who could help the company succeed are not hired. Employee engagement. Individuals who are discriminated against can become unhappy, lack energy, cause friction, or become angry, which can affect work quality, productivity, creativity, and innovation, among other things. Performance evaluations and compensation. Individuals who do not receive fair compensation or evaluations due to discrimination are less happy, less productive, and high-performing employees often leave. Promotion, sponsorship of talent, and succession planning. If not done fairly, this can impact employee satisfaction and engagement. Team and project assignments. Individuals not having the opportunity to build relationships across the organization and/or with clients. Innovation and creativity. If everyone has the same view, it's hard to be innovative and creative. Leadership. Bad decisions can be made by leadership that can impact success and profitability. Client or customer service. Let's look back at Lucy and Jamal. If Jamal hadn't turned around, Lucy might not have received the customer service she has a right to. She might have waited longer for the next car or not received one in time to make her appointment. Harassment. Many people think that harassment is the same as discrimination, but it is not. Harassment is a form of discrimination, but it is often separated from other forms of discrimination, even though it is based on the same reasons, for example, age, religion, sex, or disability, because it has unique issues. The Ontario Human Rights Code defines it as engaging in a course or conduct that is known or ought to reasonably be known to be unwelcome, based on one or more of the prohibited grounds listed in the Ontario Human Rights Code, that a person knows or ought to know would be unwelcome, offensive, embarrassing, or hurtful. Due to harassment takes place when an individual makes a comment or acts in a way that is known or should have been known to be offensive, embarrassing, humiliating, demeaning, or unwelcome. Some examples of harassment include jokes, innuendos, or remarks related to any of the reasons or grounds for discrimination, such as race, gender identity, sexual orientation, or age. Circulating offensive material such as pictures through email, social media, or print. Comments that ridicule a person because of characteristics such as sex, race, or religion. Threats meant to intimidate you due to race, sexual orientation, or religion. Unwanted physical contact such as poking, rubbing, pinching, or touching. That is correct. This could be considered harassment. Jamal doesn't mean any harm by his jokes, but it doesn't matter what his intent is. How Lucy feels is what matters. Just because Lucy is laughing does not mean she is welcoming the jokes. She could be laughing because she's nervous or doesn't want to cause conflict. If Lucy is uncomfortable, nervous, or scared due to Jamal's jokes, they could be considered harassment. How do we prevent discrimination and harassment? The ultimate responsibility for preventing discrimination is with the employer. Under the Ontario Human Rights Code, employers can no longer ignore discrimination and harassment in the place of employment. Important message. It is an employer's legal duty to provide a discrimination-free work environment, prevent and respond to any discriminatory behavior, whether intentional or unintentional, condemn any discriminatory behavior within their company. Employers are also legally responsible for the discriminatory acts of their employees and contractors. So what is your role in addressing and preventing discrimination? Act with equity and inclusion. Equity is the fair treatment, access, opportunity, and advancement for all people while trying to identify and eliminate barriers that have prevented individuals or groups from fully participating. Inclusion is the act of creating environments in which any individual or group can feel welcomed, respected, supported, and valued to fully participate. An inclusive and welcoming climate embraces differences and offers respect in words and actions for all people. Report any discriminatory behaviors you witness. Address and condemn bad behaviors. So let's get back to Jamal and Lucy. Did Jamal provide an inclusive service to Lucy? Did Lucy reach her goal of getting to her destination? Yes, no, maybe. Correct. Yes, Jamal followed the equitable principles of the Toronto rules governing vehicle for hire services equity by not charging for the extra time and effort it took to pick up Lucy. Yes, Jamal showed equity in his service because he charged the same fare and provided service that met Lucy's needs. He placed her chair in the car and waited for her to transfer in and out of the car. A great way to prevent discrimination is to ask yourself two questions when providing service to a customer. 1. Can I provide this person the same service? Example, if Jamal were able to provide the same service but decided not to pick up individuals who have disabilities because it was more work than driving people who did not have disabilities, he would not have been inclusive. 2. Am I providing the same service to this individual as I would another? Example, if Jamal had charged Lucy extra for loading her wheelchair, he would not have been providing the same service as someone without a wheelchair. He also would have contravened the rules for maintaining his license as a driver for hire in Toronto. Expressing unwelcome behavior. All of us have the ability to act in a discriminatory manner because of our beliefs, attitudes, and biases. Both drivers and passengers can act poorly and in a discriminatory way. Conflict can arise. As a driver, you should be prepared and have a plan to manage customer expectations and conflict. Customers certainly have high expectations, and they should. They are, after all, paying for a service. So what can you do to ensure you achieve their expectations? Just follow these 5 steps and you'll be on your way. 1. Be honest and clear in your communication. 2. Provide clear timelines. 3. Remain optimistic but realistic. 4. Openly discuss solutions. 5. Follow up when you can. Now we all know that even when you do everything right, things can still go wrong. So what happens when conflicts arise between you and your customers? Well, just like the steps to achieve customer expectations, there are 5 skills you should have to manage conflict effectively. They are: 1. Remain calm at all times. 2. Try to understand what the customer is really upset about and then, if possible, provide a solution. 3. Manage the customer's expectations as outlined above. 4. Explain but don't blame. We often want to say it is not our fault and then explain whose fault it is. Just explain the situation without blaming someone else. 5. Repeat back what the customer said to make sure you understand their concern. All individuals have the right to receive services free of discrimination and harassment, not only because it's the law, but because it benefits society and the individuals who live in it. And we know you will do your part to make sure that it happens. Now that you have reviewed the content of this module, let's take a moment to see what we've learned. Great job! That is the correct answer. Disability, family status, race, gender expression, and age are all reasons or grounds that one cannot discriminate. Great job! That is the correct answer. Self-awareness, training sessions, and discussions with others who are different from you can help you identify your unconscious biases. Now continue on to Module 5.